Okay, today we are going to talk about setting the grind. It's very important to have a grinder that will adequately grind the coffee for your espresso machine. Espresso coffee is finer grind than your pour over or auto brew, and so you have to really tune the grinder for the machine. Now, this is a compact grinder. It's a K10. And this is a special grinder. It's one of my favorites because the RPM on this is only 300 rotations per minute, whereas a lot of grinders are 1,300 per minute. Now, this is going to grind a double shot, fill this portafilter, which is an 18-gram basket. It's going to fill that in about 3-point-something seconds. And the ones that turn faster will do it just as well, but the higher the RPM, the more friction and the more heat that will be in your coffee. There are several things that are going to affect the shot. One is the temperature. The temperature of the machine, the temperature of the coffee that's ground. And if you get busy in a busy shop, it's better to have a lower RPM grinder so that the coffee doesn't start off as warm with the friction with the beans being cut. So we are using the K10 grind on demand. This particular machine has a holder for the portafilter and a button in the back that activates the grinder and sets the timer. This is going to set it off in about 3 seconds. I'm getting this much coffee. Now that's a dose that looks really high, and it is, and I'm going to weigh it because I zeroed out my scale with just the portafilter. Now I have 23 grams of coffee. That's way too much coffee. If I tried to pack this, it would probably not even go in the group head. So what I'm going to do, when I pull a shot, I dose like this is dosed. I settle, hitting it twice, and then it settles the coffee down and it's not mounted so high. Then I level the coffee forward, back, side to side, and I scrape off the loose grounds. Now you can see that it's basically level with the top, but I'm going to guess that this is probably a little more than 19 grams. It's 22 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to level, I'm going to dig down a little bit more and get more coffee out because I have too much coffee. Okay. You're supposed to use 18 grams or 18-point-something grams, according to the Specialty Coffee Association. Now I have 18 grams exactly, and that's what I want. 18 grams. Now I can see it's low in this area, so I'm going to settle the grounds again, and I'm going to take my tamper, and this I'm going to feel from the 12 o'clock to the 6 o'clock, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel the top of the tamper and the edge of the basket. And I'm going to make sure that it's level from the 12 to 6 and then also the 3 to 9. When I say 3 to 9, I'm talking the positions of the clock. Now, I'm taking this out. I can either bump it or do this. And then I'm going to push down 30 to 35 pounds and polish. Now this is going to be an extremely fast shot. I know that because I got too much coffee coming out, which means it's not fine enough. I'm going to lock it in the portafilter. I'm turning my scale on, and this particularly interesting scale I have set in position number 2, which is a Brewista scale. Now watch when I set this cup on and it flashes to 0. There, start it. and it's way too fast, which means I have to, it was 11 seconds and I got 41 grams of liquid. Okay, I am going to make it finer. Go toward the smaller bean, make it finer. And I'm at number 18, which is really insignificant. It depends upon your grinder. The weight I want, and push down lightly, knock the loose grounds in the middle, 35 pounds, 30, 35, dump the loose grounds off, lock it in. Okay, when I put this down, it's going to zero out. To start my shot, and this is a good thing. It started first drip about 8 seconds, which is really indicating to me that it's too fine a grind or too much coffee because the shot is going to take too long. I want a 25-second shot, and I want just about 1.5 ounces to 1.75 ounces. And this is going to be 40 grams of liquid and 30 some seconds, so that's over. I want to pull it out between 25 and 30 seconds. So I'm going to go back now. I'm going to taste this. And when it takes too long and the water is in contact with the coffee too long, it's going to over extract. It's going to get the goodness out of the coffee, and then it's going to start getting the undesirables out the last few seconds that it brewed. So this is a bitter shot. I'm going to dump that out. I'm going to go back to my grinder, and I'm going to loosen the grind up. And I'm going to try again. I'm going to take my puck, knock it out. I'm going to rinse the group head and the portafilter basket. Dump it. And usually it takes about 2 to 3 seconds for it to drip out. It's dripped out. And now I'm going to dose it again at a little bit bigger grind because it's going through too slow. When it's going through too slow, that means there's one of 3 things it could be. Number 1, the grind is too fine. Number 2, you tamp too hard. Or number 3, you have too much coffee to begin with. The more massive coffee the water has to push through, the more it has to saturate and push through. This espresso machine is set at 9 bars. So it's going to give me about 130 pounds of pressure pushing the hot water through the grounds, and I'm going to extract and get the goodness out in 25 to 29, 30 seconds. So I really like about a 26-second shot with this coffee. So I've adjusted the grind again. I'm going to weigh this out, zero it out, dose it, weigh it. Okay, let's try that. Front to back, side to side. Knock the grounds back in, 35 pounds, polished. Dump loose grounds. Lock and load. Up, zero out. Start. Okay, this is right. First drip is at 6 seconds, which is going to give me probably, I'm going to guess, a 27-second shot. I don't know. It's going to be close. 25 seconds. It's a perfect shot time-wise, and it gives me less than 50 grams, about 40 grams of coffee. And this is, the crema is going to be the right color because it's not over extracted. Good. I can tell the difference. And a lot of people say, oh, you really can't tell. But you taste one to another of 3 or 4 second extraction difference. It is different. Okay, that is how to set the grind, how to dose, how to settle, level, weigh. Now, once you get it set, and I'm weighing out my grams of coffee in my portafilter to get the grind set, because I want to take the variables of the amount of coffee out and basically set the grind. And if I'm pulling too fast of a shot, I'm going to go finer. It's almost like if I take a pitcher of water and I'm pouring it through sand with a little hole in it, it's going to take longer for that water to get through the sand if I take pea gravel and pour water through. It's the same with grounds. Coarser ground coffee goes through faster than fine. The compact, the tighter the grind, the smaller the grind, the more compact it is, and the more force and time it takes to get through the coffee. That is why it is so important to set your grind for your machine. Every machine is a little bit different. And now we're going into the other bar, and we're going to work with the Quality Espresso K9. And we're going to set the grind on it for the machine in there, for the 2 machines in there. Okay, here we are, and we're going to use the Custom by Future Mat. It's got the lever, manual lever. I have to start it manually by lifting it up, and I have to stop it manually by pushing it down. And so this machine is kind of interesting. I can get a soft pre-infusion by kicking this on, opening the valve without the pump coming on. You don't see any pump pressure, and you don't hear any. But now listen. The pump kicks on and it goes up to 9 bars. So what we're going to do is work on this side a little bit, and we're going to pull a shot and set the grind with this grinder. This grinder is a German design grinder by a company called Azoiken. It's sold. There's no more Azoiken as far as I know. And Quality Espresso bought this company. They like the grind. I have changed the hopper to a more traditional hopper. Gives me a place to put my tamper and my brush. I can brush this out. And I just turned it on. And this is going to, I have it set for grind on demand. I can grind ahead and just push it in and pop, it's full. Or I can have it set where it's going to grind and then dose. Listen. Now it dosed. 0. Start it. Okay, and that's 5 seconds before first drip. So I think this might be a little bit fast. Yeah, it is. So I have way too much coffee in there for the 25 seconds. I'm going to dump this out. I'm going to adjust the grind tighter. And usually, this is so minute and fine, you've got to turn it a lot to get one little click or one little notch. So I'm going to make this almost a full revolution. And start the shot. Okay, it's 6 seconds. It's in my range that I'm feeling good about. 6 seconds before first drip. And I'm going to stop this right now at 36 grams of coffee in 25 seconds. I have adjusted, made this finer to slow it down, and using a little more coffee will slow it down, or making the grind finer will slow it down. Now we're pulling a shot on the F3 Groupotronic. Groupotronic means that this machine, the E61 group head, which is like this machine and this machine, tends to get hot. And what this has is a probe that senses the temperature, and it has a solenoid valve that opens and closes. So this thermal siphon will get so hot it will become the same as the temperature of the boiler. But this, when it gets up to temperature that I set right here, it's going to be at 93 degrees centigrade. And it's going to shut off, and it's not going to allow that to keep getting hotter. And so this is going to be within 0.2 degrees, which is one of the most stable group head temperatures in the industry, and I'm getting that for a lot less than the double boiler machine. This is a heat exchanger machine, and it is got the quick turn valve, and it's got the preset. I can set this group head different than this group head. If I'm going to pull decaf, and I like decaf better at a little bit different temperature, I can set one side for the decaf and one side for the regular. Gives me more options. And let's see what kind of thing we're going to get now as we lock this in. Put this on. Okay, there's 6 seconds for first drip. That's what I like to see to gauge my shot. I like to see about 6 seconds before first drip. I'm at 18, 19, and I'm at 23, 24, 25, 26 seconds, which is a great shot. And I've got my 38 grams. And you notice the crema on this, I don't know, can you see the crema? It's light. Tastes good. And this would make a great macchiato, espresso macchiato. And I want you to notice something. I used the same grinder for both of these machines. This at first was set for this machine, but it changed. This pulls a different shot. The pump pressure is the same. The temperature is more stable. Maybe that comes into play. So I have to set that grinder for each machine that you're going to use. So this is a good lesson on setting the grind by weighing it out, by dosing, settling, leveling, weighing, and pulling the shot. And I want a 25-second shot. My ideal to me is 26 seconds for my coffee. And you want 25 to 30 second range for the water to be in contact with the coffee under 9 bars, 131 pounds of pressure to get the goodness out. That's why we call it espresso. Most coffee, it takes longer contact time with the water. So if I'm doing cold brew, contact time needs to be 12 to 24 hours. If it's hot coffee, it's going to go down to 4 to 5 minutes, whatever. And if I'm doing an espresso machine, and that's where we get the term espresso, it happens faster because the pressure of the water pushing through the grounds and the temperature of the water is going to get the goodness out of the coffee in less time. A 25-second shot is good. 20 to 30 seconds, 25 give or take is good, acceptable range, but I like a 26-second shot, and I'm extracting the goodness out within that short amount of time. Therefore we have espresso. What does it take to make espresso? It takes a machine that will heat the water and a pump that will push the water through in the correct amount of time. and having the right coffee, the right grind, and the right hand to settle, level, tamp, and pull the shot. So it takes those three things. It takes, part of it is me controlling it, but part of it is beyond my hand. It's the machine or it's the coffee that I'm using. So this is what it takes to set the grind to pull a good shot. Thank you. We'll see you next week.